Amara and Ada ran for fear of their lives away from Obidike. As they got to the river, Ada said, "My queen, I told you, Obidike can't die easily. Marrying the king and placing the child on him was a terrible mistake. Keep quiet." Amara snapped with her voice sharp but low, holding a baby. "Do you want people to hear you?" She looked around, her eyes wide with fear that someone might be listening. Obidike was gone for a month, and I had no choice. When he didn't return, I believed he was dead. What was I supposed to do? Become a widow, a single mother? Amara's voice wavered, her tone laced with bitterness. It was only right to place his child on the king. Ada shook her head, a mixture of pity and frustration in her eyes. "But a month after he left for war, you moved too quickly, my queen. You could have waited. Now the king is dead and Obidike will kill you and the child. He's after you both and there's nothing that will stop him." She paused for a while and said, "Why not tell him the truth, that the child is his? You have nothing left to lose. Don't you dare." Amara interrupted. "The man chasing us now is a beast, not the loving Obidike I used to know. Before I tell him it's his child, he would have killed the baby even before I explain." In a desperate plea, Amara handed her newborn son to her maid, Ada, begging her seriously, "Please, save my son." She removed a necklace and placed it on her baby's neck. "Hopefully, this necklace will keep him safe. Now go!" Ikenna's mother woke him up, her voice urgent and trembling. "Ikenna, wake up. We must run.
If we don't leave soon, they will come for him. Please hurry,"
Ijoma said in a low voice. As Ikenna sat up, confusion clouded him and he felt weak. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice shaky. The fear in their eyes made his heart pound. They explained everything to him quickly as they moved, and as soon as his mother packed what's needed, they fled. Just as they got to the river, the king's guards arrived. It turned out that the news about Ikenna's forbidden powers had spread like wildfire within just a few hours. They arrested Ikenna and took him to the palace. The next morning, Ikenna found himself kneeling before the king, where the whole villagers gathered. The king's voice was cold and accusing. "Where did you get such powers from, Ikenna?" Ikenna just knelt there, unable to answer the question, ready for whatever fate awaited him. The king immediately declared his death, as it was too dangerous for any common person to hold such powers. Ada wept bitterly but was held back by some women. Just as the executioner raised his sword, a deep voice rang out from the edge of the crowd. "Stop! He's coming with us." Everyone turned to see the Mmeri warriors, their leader Maduka, at the front. The sight of them sent a wave of fear through the village. The Mmeri warriors were now feared and respected due to the history and the many lands they had conquered. The king in anger said, "And who are you to interfere in the affairs of my village?" Maduka stepped forward and pointed his sword at the king.
"You seem to have forgotten so soon that we once conquered your village too. Let me remind you who we are."
Suddenly, Maduka turned around and with a swift motion deflected an arrow shot at him by a guard who had been hiding. "Seize him!" he yelled, and one of his men grabbed the guard. The king, now shaken, said,
"Fine, take him with you. He's a disaster to us anyway."
Maduka and his warriors raced back with Ikenna. They also took the guard who had tried to attack Maduka with them. They arrived at Mmeri late at night, where the king and the villagers had gathered. Maduka showed Ikenna to the king, and later that night, around 1 a.m., Maduka led Ikenna and the guard to the tree's lair. Maduka then told the guard to run for his life, and the guard, thinking he was free, ran towards the tree, and in an instant, the tree came alive and devoured the guard. Ikenna, in fear, with trembling voice, said to Maduka as they left.
Is that how you plan to kill me? What was that thing?
Maduka smirked, his voice cold.
That, boy, is what you must face. You either kill it or it kills you. With your powers, you stand a chance.
As they got back to the village, Ikenna fell to his knees in front of everyone, begging to be killed rather than be eaten by the beast tree. Maduka, disappointed, stepped forward.
My king, let me end this coward myself.
But before the blade could fall, a voice from the crowd shouted, "How dare you raise your sword against Obidike's son?" The crowd gasped and Maduka froze. Ikenna's mother, Ada, stepped forward, her face no longer heated. Ikenna's eyes widened in shock. "Obidike has no son," Maduka said, still confused. But before anyone could react, the priest, lost in trance, began to speak.
Ikenna, son of Obidike, the gods have declared your fate.
The priest revealed that Ikenna was indeed Obidike's son, but that he wasn't any match for Obidike either. He, however, said that as a punishment for what Obidike has done, the innocent people that had died because of his wrath, only Obidike's own blood can kill him now. This means that in order for the tree to be destroyed, he had to also eat his own son. Tears filled Ikenna's eyes, realizing the evil tree was his own father. He was determined to help his father rest, even if it took his own life. Maduka, who had been Obidike's best friend but couldn't go to the war with him because he was sick, blamed himself for everything that was happening. He couldn't protect his own best friend and now his son also. As they approached the tree, Ikenna took the warrior sword. With trembling hands, he stepped forward while the villagers watched from afar, praying for the gods to have mercy. The tree opened its red eyes, sensing Ikenna. Ikenna was terrified, but he remembered what Maduka had told him. "Boy, you either kill it or it kills you." As the tree lunged at him, Ikenna dodged its attack, his powers awakening inside him. Ikenna tried his best to fight the tree, with hope that it truly stand a chance. But in the end, the tree grabbed him and prepared to swallow him, when suddenly, Maduka came screaming.
Obidike, don't! He's your son.
The tree stopped, its red eyes narrowing as if it could understand. "What did you say?" Its voice rumbled, deep and filled with rage. Maduka stepped forward, a sword still drawn. "Ikenna is your son. The gods have decreed it. If you destroy him, you destroy yourself. That's the only way you can rest." Suddenly, the tree let out a roar of agony. It was then that Obidike realized what he had done and regretted it. Obidike's voice was filled with regret as he spoke.
I saved this land. I protected it. And this is how the gods repay me?
The villagers, seeing the agony in the tree's words, began to cry out for mercy, begging the gods to forgive their once great protector. But Obidike knew there was no escape from his fate. He looked at his son Ikenna, who was already in tears, and saw the necklace his mother had worn on him.
That necklace, I gave it to your mother before I left for war, just so he could protect her.
Obidike, after a breath of relief, said, "Smash that necklace, my son. Inside it, I eat some of my blood." He explained that he hid part of his blood inside the necklace to leave a trace of his powers with his mother, so no harm will come to her. Ikenna, with tears in his eyes and a heavy heart, did as his father said. The necklace opened and blood spilled on the sand, and Obidike instructed him to pour the sand in his mouth, which he did. The villagers watched in silence and regret. Everyone hoped that it would work, so Ikenna doesn't have to sacrifice himself. Obidike looked at his son and said,
My son, I'm sorry for every pain I've caused you. I love you, son.
The tree let out a loud scream, and Obidike's spirit left the tree and ascended to heaven, while the tree collapsed into dust. The villagers were filled with both relief and sadness. They had been freed from the curse, but at the cost of one of their greatest warriors. In honor of Obidike, they built a statue in his memory, vowing to bring gifts and sacrifice to it in order to honor him. As for Ikenna, the weight of his journey was heavy on his heart. But Ada still took him as her son and comforted him, along with his two friends. The former king of Mary, regretting the wrongs his father had committed in the past, stepped down from his throne out of shame and handed the crown to Ikenna. Ikenna, though reluctant, accepted the role. He ruled with wisdom and compassion, vowing never to use his powers again or go to war. He knew the cost of power and violence and promised to lead his people with peace. Ijeoma, who had always stood by Ikenna's side, finally confessed her love to him. Ikenna, who had loved her all along but feared ruining their friendship, smiled through his pain. They eventually got married, ruling the kingdom together with love and unity. As for Ifeoma, she deeply regretted how she had treated Ikenna. She wished she was in Ijeoma's place as the queen of a great village like Mary, but it was too late. All she could do now was watch and live with regrets from afar. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, repost, share, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please follow this page so you don't miss out on my next story. Thank you.